Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talks. In this video we're going to have a look at some of the players that we think you should be looking at for game week 33. If you're not free hitting, these are some of the players that you might want to consider bringing into your side. We'll look at the teams to target, some of the players to look at further beyond as well. But don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, click on that like button, hit the subscribe, and let's take a look at what we got. So here's a lineup for game week 33. Fixtures have already been confirmed. They didn't hang around in making us aware of them. So Chelsea now double in game week 34. That's huge, really, guys. Affects a lot of plans. Manchester United double as well. I'm not sure whether I'm too interested in that so much. If you brought in players like Fernandes, Ronaldo, Telles, those sort of players, because you wanted to cover 33, then this is great news for you. You've got a double game week player in 33 as well, 34 as well. For me, a free hit this week, so I'm looking at those Chelsea assets, thinking who else I could bring in, but we'll go through the pros and cons of those. Otherwise, it threatened to be just a normal game week. But game week 34 on the list, there you go. We're going to go through some of the players that we should be targeting coming up for this deadline later on in the week. I'm going to quickly go through my team and how we're doing at the moment. Literally, this is a side I went for on the deadline. Pros and cons, really. It feels like I've got 39 points. I think the average is something like 19 points. So overall, my rank's gone up massively. It's 30-odd thousand points of gain. I've got a big green arrow, which is great. I mean, Telles has managed to get a return. Didn't get that clean sheet I was hoping for. Obviously, I think it's just divided into two groups at the moment, isn't it? It's those that have Ronaldo and those who haven't, because very little else happened. Son didn't do anything. I brought Saka in at the last minute because I didn't trust Barnes this minute, and I just went for no Leicester players. I just thought heavily rotated, and that proved to be the case. Obviously, Newcastle lost their clean sheet. It's probably the worst result for me as well, because Leicester did at the same time. We've got Cancelo to play still. Fernandes was captain. He didn't return anything, and Cornet missed a penalty. But despite all of that, 39 points, and just Ronaldo really bailing me out. We're halfway through the week. Interesting, I did tweet something about Arsenal versus Southampton. I just felt that historically Southampton have not done that badly at home against big sides. Yes, they've been on the end of some hidings, but there's been generally a reason why, an early sending off or something. So for Arsenal, everyone to pile into Arsenal at Southampton just felt like just a bit of a recency biased, really. I brought Saka in because he absolutely nailed for 2 games. And obviously he missed that great chance. A great save or bad miss. I'm not sure which one. Maybe a bit of both. Son obviously blanked as well. But in some ways, I'm not unhappy that Son and Saka both blanked, because they're just so heavily owned. Some people would have captained them as well. So I think it probably would have hurt my rank more if Saka had come out and got some points. The fact that Maddison and Barnes didn't play as well, that has helped me a little bit. Feels like no one has really come out on top unless you've got Guimaraes. And if you've got Guimaraes, I don't think that's going to be... I think you might have been struggling for rank anyway, but if you brought him in, wow, that's a master stroke. But we're only halfway through the week. Lots more to play for, and at the moment, pretty happy. So let's have a look at the watch list, guys. Let's first of all, I have looked at all the teams that I think are worth targeting for the rest of the season. So here we go. We've got game week 34 coming up, 35, 36, 37, and 38, obviously. Leicester have some great fixtures coming up. They obviously got Villa at home, Tottenham away, then they've got a double in 36, double in 37, and then Southampton at home. So they've got a lovely end to the season, but we will go and sort of deep dive with them in a minute. You're looking at Palace as well. Now they're at the FA Cup. They double in 37. They've got good fixtures before then as well. So they look like an attractive proposition. And if you've got no free hits left, I mean, you're looking at the likes of Leicester and Villa there. Villa double in 36, double in 37. So again, good fixtures. Don't end the season too well. But before that, you're Norwich. So again, looking like a nice side to target. Chelsea with that double in 34, double in 36. That looks really attractive. Look at all those green fixtures for them as well. Out of Europe as well, so you also know that they're not going to be heavily rotating too much. You wouldn't have thought. Manchester City, single games there, but they've got a game against Wolves to rearrange, so that's going to slide in there somewhere. I think maybe 37, so look out for that. If you're free hitting in 37, that may be good news for you. You can start to target Manchester City players. And then Liverpool obviously have that 36 double, Everton at home with 34, then the away game as well. So looking at the other sides, we've got Southampton, Brighton at home, Brentford, Palace. They don't double, that's the only problem there. They've got some nice fixtures though. Tottenham have some really nice fixtures, but their double in 36 looks really horrible. But a lot of us will be sat with Tottenham players. So we've got to decide whether we're going to hold on to those or play them through game week 36. I think, to be fair, they have a double. So whether they're still going to score 2 points. And Tottenham up until the last couple of games have been pretty free scoring. So You know what? I think for my own assets, I've got 3 Tottenham players. I'm happy to hold them through game week 36. They're both going to be doubling. Kane and Son will definitely be playing. I'm happy for that. Watford have some really good fixtures there. Your problem is it's Watford, and who do you go for? Wolves, again, they have that rearranged game against Man City. If that goes ahead, it will be a double in 37 with Norwich and Man City. So really good and bad fixtures for them. Ending with Liverpool and Chelsea in 36 are perhaps not a side to target. And then Manchester United, because their game with Chelsea has been built forward from game week 37, they have quite an awkward double in 34. Arsenal away, Chelsea away, they blank in 37 as well. So again, if you bring in Manchester United players, maybe be aware of that. They're not doubling in 36 either. So, all in all, who are we going to target? I think Leicester definitely look like a side worth targeting. Palace, nice fixture as well. They've got the double in 37 and a decent fixture in 36. Villa with a double-double, definitely. Chelsea with a double in 34 and 36, and good fixtures elsewhere. Manchester City, with that Wolves fixture as well, they definitely want to target. And Liverpool, all these sides look really good. I haven't included every single team in this. Southampton, I just think are on a void. I don't know who you'd get. You've got Broja, who's obviously a good enabler, but I don't even think he's absolutely nailed. There's obviously issues with him. Chelsea loan, will he go back? How much are they going to invest in him if he's not going to stay? Tottenham look like a side I'd still be happy to keep hold of, even though that game week 37 double isn't that attractive. They are still getting a double. I'm not sure I'll be bringing too many Tottenham players in, but if I've got them, which I do at the moment, I'm happy to hold them. Watford, they got some nice fixtures there, but I just don't know who you would target. Cucho's out. Dennis, possibly. But I just don't know if I trust any of those Watford. I mean, Dennis on the fact that there's not many other strikers, forwards that you can trust, possibility. But otherwise, I think I'm staying away from Watford. Even Wolves with that double, that looks like quite a tough end to the season for them. And Manchester United, Chelsea double, I'm not sure. I trust them. And B, I want to get involved with them. That just looks like a really difficult double. So, game week 34 and 35, I had a little look at the predicted points scores. Ronaldo came up on top for the next two game weeks, 13.6. Then there was Bruno, 13.1. Obviously, because Manchester United have that double. Then next came Mount on 12.6. And Rudiger dropped in there with 11.6. That was quite interesting. I'm not using this as a goal, as a sort of template and absolute sanctum that I'm going to do these players, but it is interesting. It's an interesting guide as to who they think is going to be the top point scoring players. It's useful. I'd like to have a look at it from now and then. If we're looking at Chelsea, then they have the double against Man United and West Ham. Then they've got Everton, Wolves, Leeds, Leicester, Watford. Who would I target if I haven't got any Chelsea players? Now, you might have some of these players already. I think the obvious one is just Reece James. The only problem you've got with Reece James, he hasn't played 90 minutes in a Premier League game since game week 19. Now, yes, he had that great game at Burnley where he scored, assisted, got the bonus points, big double-digit haul, but he still didn't even complete the 90 minutes then. So he is a worry. He has completed, obviously, more minutes in the Champions League and the FA Cup, so that's good news. But in terms of the Premier League, game week 19 was the last time he completed 9 minutes. That surprised me. XGI is just brilliant. And they're not in Europe anymore. So I like the idea of bringing Reece James in. He would, I think, at this moment in time, be my number one call. I think he's the man that I would be looking to bring in. Next, Rudiger. Why? I think he has missed 2 games all season. That's it. He's nailed in that Chelsea defence. 6.2. He's got to be just purely there. Any sort of goal return is a bonus as well. He does have a threat from set pieces. But James Rudiger, I would not mind doubling up, looking at those fixtures on that Chelsea defence. And I think Rudiger's the only one I could trust to absolutely play week in, week out. All Chelsea have got to play for really with that top 4 finish already nailed is the FA Cup. So James, you would have thought would get a reasonable run through the rest of the season, and Rudiger would be the next nailed player in that side. Mason Mount is a player that would absolutely interest me. Now the next 3 for me are going to be a toss-up. Who am I going to bring in? I think I'm definitely bringing in a Chelsea player. I've got James and Rudiger. Do I bring Mount in? He's played 15 of the last 17 games. He started that. That's pretty good. Expected goal involvement in 0.6. He's got 5 goal involvements in the last 5 games. So that looks really impressive and encouraging. I want to know who's going to play most of these games. If I can get out of those 7 games, if I can get 6 games out of Mount, I'll be absolutely thrilled. And it looks like a good chance given his stats before now. And his possibilities on penalties if Jorginho's not on the pitch as well. The other one that you could consider is Havertz, another midfielder, 7.0, slightly more expensive. He started the last 6. He looks like he's the absolute number 9 preferred up front for Tuchel. Goal involvement exactly the same, 0.6 is expected goal involvement, and he's got 6 goal involvements in the last 6 games. So, came off early against Southampton half time. I think that was just more of a case of rotation and risk, sort of resting for the Real game. But he's absolutely nailed up front, you would say, at the moment. Again, it's just both midfielders. Mount perhaps gets the edge. He's got 0.3 if you can't stretch to that. He's a little bit cheaper. I'm really torn. I don't know which way I'm going to go. The other thing that I could do, the midfield slots at the moment are quite competitive. When you think Salah's around, Son's obviously doing well. People have Kulusevski and Saka. There's Maddison, people like that. So you might struggle to fit him in. And this is where Werner might be an option. And I am looking at him. So he started the last 4. XGI decent, 0.55. 3 goal involvements in the last 4 games. That did come in that. He loves playing against Southampton. That one game. So you'd say he's only really got 1 contribution in the last 4 games. But all those 3 came in 1. The fact that he's a forward for me, Werner, does make it interesting because it's much easier to get to, and there's very few other options in that forward department. Otherwise, you're looking to sacrifice a midfield slot for Mount or Havertz, but I do think who you're going to go for. I think Chelsea has to be the priority. I'm not saying it's the only priority, but those fixtures look brilliant. The fact that they're doubling in 36 may mean that if you haven't got a free hit, you get that covered as well. Decent fixtures for the rest of the season. For someone like me, I've got that 36 will be covered, and then I'm going to free hit in 37, so that's not a problem. But they look really good, those Chelsea assets. The next thing then I did want to have a look at was going through Leicester. They're an interesting side. They've got Villa at home, Tottenham away, then they've got a great double in 36, slightly more difficult in 37, and then Southampton in 38. The problem they've got, as you can see, is they are obviously in the Europa Conference. So their schedule is just pretty manic. In game week 34, remember, they're going to play again in game week 33. They've got another fixture away at Everton. Then on the weekend, they're going to play Villa. The following week, they're going to play at home to Roma, Tottenham on the Saturday. The following week after that, rushed ahead, they're going to play against Roma again. Then they've got Everton. Then at the weekend, they've got Norwich. Then it'll be Watford, Chelsea. It's so forced up. They've got a game basically every midweek for the rest of the season. That is a crazy amount of football. And if they get through to the final, they'll have another game to play at the end of the season. The options are Maddison, Justin and Barnes. But do you know what? I've shied away. I have Maddison in my side, and I'm considering moving Maddison out to bring in the likes of Havertz or Mount, just because I don't see how I'm going to get the minutes from them. I don't doubt that they've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more league games to play on top of the one they're going to play away at Everton. But the priority is purely going to be Roma in that Europa Conference League, and then the final if they get there. So the likes of Maddison and Barnes will definitely be prioritised for those. The other players that are going to play, like Castagna, Pereira may be favoured for those bigger games as well. They're not just going to sit on the sidelines through this run of games. They're going to get some minutes as well to keep them ticking over. So I just don't trust the minutes. That's what I'm worried about. And I don't think at this point in the season I want someone like Maddison or Barnes having that issue. I just think that they could end up coming on with 10-15 minutes to go, as they did today, and that will just ruin it. So for me, Leicester, even though I love their fixtures, I just think it's a no-go for me. So from my wish list as well, I'm definitely looking at Matip and bolstering my Liverpool side, and I want that Man City presence in Cancelo. At the moment, I just haven't got them. When to bring them, I'm not sure. Taking a hit, that's going to be another question I'll have to think about later in the week. But at the moment, I think that priority is just going to be that Chelsea side. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, click subscribe, and if you've got any comments below, what are you going to do? Who are you going to bring in this week? How are you getting on? In the meantime, take care. Good luck. Speak to you soon.